It's grand rising, beautiful people. Grand rising. Okay, I got some good information for y'all today. I did have some pictures, but I ain't gonna hold you. I gotta do something different because YouTube doesn't always show the whole picture. So there is no need of me teasing you, showing you pieces of pictures. So I gotta like rehook my StreamYard back up, but I'll get that together in due time. Um, what I want to talk to you about is chi. Okay, so let's okay. Excuse me. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Yes, greetings. Okay, okay. Um, here we go. Here we go. Okay, okay, okay. The chi, you got me all excited. the chi, the chi represents the 22nd letter of the Greek alphabet, now as chi, as in Christ, or in the modern style with KH, as in KHANIA, and in the etymology of a dictionary. So Chi also the 22nd star in the constellation. Chi is a variation of GI, circulating life force whose existence and properties are the basis of much Chinese philosophy and medicine. So Chi is also a medicine, y'all. Okay, so yesterday my 1-year-old granddaughter knocked over my ancestor altar. Water was in the glass. Oh wow. Mmm. It's a water energy. That's a chi, isn't it? um, okay. Huh. Okay, so it says in Chinese, chi, traditional character, refers to the vital life force of energy that emanates all things in the universe. It can be translated as air, breath, or vital energy, and is central to Chinese philosophy. Traditional Chinese medicine, called TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and martial arts. The concept describes a dynamic, invisible force that flows through the living beings, and its balance flows is essential for the health and vitality. So, our vital energy, it is a fundamental energy that sustains life and growth and renewal. So it says that the universal flow is chi, and it is believed to flow through all living things and the universe, connecting everything energetically. So everything in the universe has chi inside of it. right? Because chi is life force, and nothing would exist without that chi, okay? So the chi serves as a bridge between the physical body and the one's essence or consciousness, influencing physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. The balance is key. Health depends on the balance and harmonies and the flows of the chi, while the imbalance can lead to illness and instabilities. So if we don't balance out our chis, we will have physical diseases in our bodies. Oh, the ancestors catch the water. Yeah, because the ancestors in the chi, the ancestors in the air, the ancestors in the wind, the ancestors in the flow. So that's how nothing got wet, because that was the chi. That's crazy. I mean, it's no coincidence you here today while we talking about chi. And you learning how powerful the chi really is because you synced it with your own eyes. You saw it for yourself. And then you just gave testimony and witness by putting the comment in there. And then they say that the chi is also the 22nd letter of the alphabet. What's the medicine woman 222? Girl, you can't make this type of stuff up. You cannot. You cannot. We are in alignment with the universe. We magical beings. We know how to communicate with numbers. Hopefully you watched the video from yesterday that we are wizards because we are activating our powers. We are superheroes. You feel me? Like, for real. We are superheroes. Nah, you ain't a believer, see, because you see the word lie is in believer. You got that. Lies are required to believe and stuff. See, you know things. See, knowledge is power. See, we not going to get destroyed because we not the people that lack knowledge. We not knowledge lackers. You know, we are abundant in this knowledge. That's why we seek it, we find it, we share it, we spread it, we build it, you know. So hopefully y'all been going back watching these other videos I've been putting up on YouTube. Now I haven't been consistent with the time, but I've been showing up putting these videos up, and I've been reposting the TikTok videos. So we get it. Please make sure y'all going back watching those because it's a lot of knowledge in there. The other day we learned that excuse me, the truth is our father, because that's David, right? David is the father, right? So David represents the truth. So this are our ancestry, people. David is our father and he is the truth. So that means we are Little Truth and Truth Junior and Truth the second and Truth the third and so on and so forth. Y'all got it? Little TRUs and stuff. You know, little true people. I'm just saying it's in you to be true because that's your father. And then your mother is wisdom. Okay? So your mother is wise. Your mother is wise. Your mother is Isis. Isis is the goddess of wisdom. So your mother could figure out anything. There was nothing that your mother, there was no problem on earth that your mother couldn't solve. So if you are a union of this truth and wisdom, who could be your enemy? Who could stop you? Who could stand in your way? But that's why your true identity was concealed and hidden from you, because they knew once you figured out that your father is the truth and your mother is wisdom, that you gonna start walking in that truth because that's your inheritance. And you gonna start acting out of that wisdom, which is your riches. That's your gold. That's your wealth. Remember the live yesterday we talked about your gold that's coming out your soul? But you have to go inside yourself in order to access that. Okay, okay. So, yeah, okay. So now we know our mother, our spiritual ancestry. We know our mother and father. Not only do we know our mother and father, we know we a union of that. We are representative of them on earth. So that means no matter what we do, we gotta seek the truth and we gotta seek wisdom. Why? Because that's who we are. We cannot lose our identity once we have found it, people. We got to stand on it. You know, put your little boots on the ground and stand on it. Okay? So we also got, okay, so Chi. Chi also is the Chinese character that combines the rice and steam, symbolizing the transformation of the dynamic nature of this energy. The practice of Tai Chi and acupuncture are designed to cultivate balance and redirect the flow of the chi. So that means we got to start looking at acupuncture, people, because this is how you redirect chi. This is ancient Chinese medicine. The Chinese also is not like what we have been programmed to think, because you know they say Chinese people, we think of the Asian people that they show us on TV, and we don't realize that this is about an energetic thing, because it says that the root word in Chinese is chi, and chi represents the fundamental energy that sustains life, growth, and renewal. That did not have nothing to do with nobody's race. That didn't have anything to do with nobody's skin tone. That had nothing to do with nobody's hair texture. They had nothing to do with nobody's facial structure. That was simply talking about the force of life that is within you. When you able to shed yourself of the exterior suit and go esoterically within yourself and understand the meaning, nobody can rob you of it. Not even the flesh. Because remember, Jesus did get crucified with two thieves. The two thieves is your eyes. Jesus represents your third eye. When he got crucified with the two thieves. So you got to know in turn, when you resurrect Jesus within yourself, which is your Christ consciousness, and you going to resurrect them thieves with them, your eyes. So your eyes will steal your visions from the third eye. They're thieves. That's what they do. So that means when you learn something on an esoteric level, on a higher level, sometimes when you lean to your own understanding of your flesh, you see it differently. You see it through your flesh. So that becomes the thieves that steals the vision. Because the vision was higher. The vision was out of this world. The vision was something that you got to go up on the mountains in order to see. Okay? So if you're looking at things from a fleshly perspective, you can be robbed. You have to look at it from a higher perspective. That's when you're going to seek knowledge and break it down and see what it really means. Okay, so okay, so we got let's do the etymology of knees. Because we broke down the word Chinese, right? We going somewhere with this too. Hold on. So, okay, wait a minute. Okay, we have knees is a noun meaning a promontory of or headland. The etymology of it comes from the Old English word nies or ness, which is related to the word nose from the the Proto-Indo-European root nas, meaning nose. The knees is a obsolete Middle English word for nose, inherited for Germanic. So it means nose, people. So chi is the life force. Knees is the nose. So we talking about breathing in prana. We're talking about breathing in ethers. We talking about connecting with the source. That's being an Ethiopian, right? But they had you thinking Ethiopians only come from Africa, right? That's the programming. The Ethiopians are the etheric beings. We are the ones that pull down the ethers from the ethers, and we speak the ethers. Remember yesterday's video, we learned that we have carbon actually coming out our mouths, and we learned that carbon is what diamonds come from. So we realized that we are giving people gems when we give them advice. We giving people diamonds and rubies and pearls that came from the depths of our soul. We learned how valuable our information is, how valuable our wisdom is. Okay, so when we talk about this Chinese, we talking about breathing through the nose. We talking about letting this energy force come through the nose. So if you've been paying attention to the different lives that we've been doing, we've been learning about the sun, and we've been learning that the sun, the creator sits inside of the sun, and the creator smokes a pipe. That pipe that the creator is smoking on is the breath of life. Yeah, so inhale, exhale, that's the breath of life. So we also learned that the tree, which is a watcher that has been standing there since the beginning and will be standing there in the end, but this tree actually exchanges sacred energy with us because this tree gives us this oxygen. And we inhale this oxygen from this tree. This oxygen gives us life. And we exhale this carbon, which becomes the source of life for this tree. This tree takes this carbon and absorbs it. Now, this exchange between us and the tree is what they call photosynthesis. So we are actually communicating with this tree. Whether we know it or not, just us taking a breath, we're communicating with this tree. That's why we need to be in tune with our breath. That's really understanding prana. That's understanding your tail. That's understanding your chi. That's understanding your life force. That you are an appendage of nature. And when you breathe and when you connect with nature, you connecting to yourself. You connecting to a higher version of yourself. You're not letting your flesh rob you of your experience. Remember the two thieves, your eyes. You can't trust everything you see with your two eyes. You got to look at it with that third eye. You got to open up your mind and use it. Right? Because we live in a mental verse. Everything is mental. And that's where your magic is at, inside your mind. So you have to learn how to look at things through your mind, through your all-seeing eye. Not just your flesh. Because your flesh can trick you. Your flesh can... You remember the stories about, Goldilocks? How Goldilocks came into the house. And Goldilocks stole everything from them brown bears. The bears was brown. Did you see past that? Because they showed you bears, but did you see the Goldilocks stole everything from the brown people? Did you see they told you what happened So they explained to you that there were 3 different tribes here. And the 3 different tribes were living amongst each other. And in these 3 different tribes that was living amongst each other, when Goldilocks came through, Goldilocks had been sleeping in their bed, eating their food, you know, because they welcomed Goldilocks in. That's how Goldilocks got in. But Goldilocks took over. There was a hostile takeover. Then you got the wolf. The wolf was a whole narcissist. The wolf was dressing up like the grandma. You know, the wolf was a liar. The wolf was a murderer. The wolf was a thief. The wolf was a cross dresser. The wolf was a deceiver. But they would have us thinking that these are innocent fairy tales. But our eyes, our flesh has robbed us of the truth. See, we had to go and live our life and actually experience things. We had to go through racism. We had to go through not being able to qualify, not being able to get this, not being able to get that. Not, you know, we had to actually experience it for ourselves in the flesh. Because that little story ain't so cute now, is it? Once you really realize what's really going on, it's like, oh, that's messed up. Then the whole Red Riding Hood story is about a narcissistic person. We should have been learning about narcissists off jump. We should have been learning about people that steal from you off jump. We should have been learning about the 7 deadly sins off jump. Because that's how all them fairy tales started. It was about greed. It was about lust. It was about treachery. It was about being false. It was about willing to steal people's identities. It was about willing to lie to people, willing to reconstruct people's history. It was a bunch of lies and spells and things going on in it. So now we got to learn how to look past what we was told. Now we got to learn how to break down the parables. Now we got to learn how to look at the analogies. We got to learn how to look at it on a whole different level, not just what you was taught, because it's deeper than what you was taught. Okay, so Chi. Chi represents the life force. Chi also says that Chi is connected, everybody connected within the Chi. That's the number 22 in the Greek alphabet. So what I want to bring to your attention about this Chi is Chicago. 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 So, what do we know about Chicago? Well, I got a lot of lives where we've been talking about Chicago. A lot of the America is Egypt lives where we're showing the Tartarian buildings, we're showing the World Fair, we're breaking down the Louisiana Purchase. We got the maps, we got the images of the maps. Those are all on my YouTube page. And like the Tartarian buildings, the America is Egypt videos, and the America has a lot of history videos that's on my page right now. Those videos are actually showing you images of Chicago, showing you the Tartarian buildings. You have to see these Tartarian buildings. Why? Because the Tartarian buildings got hieroglyphs on them. We breaking down maps where we found out where Cairo, Illinois is at. We also got maps where we was showing how Cairo Illinois is what we call Egypt. So we was connecting a lot of dots and proving it with receipts. And then when we was looking at the Tartarian buildings, we had one of our brethren, he actually went live from Chicago. And he was walking around showing us all the different monuments that we were learning about in the books. So to be able to see it and match it up with what you learning about. So drawn to Chicago, we found out that there was a Chief Chicago, which on the next live I do, I will have my images together. But I do have an image of Chief Chicago. Chief Chicago, it was Chief Littlefoot, it was Chief Montana. It was a lot of these different chiefs that were our ancestors that got buried in history that me and you don't know nothing about. Because their names was changed, their names was altered, their pictures was taken down. A lot of them was put in books that we don't even read or we don't know exist. So this is our ancestry. This is our right to the land. This is our heritage. This is our birthright. This is our soul rights. This is our ceremonial rights. This is information that is vital to who we are, our identities, our nationalities. Why? Because Goldilocks came in the house and stole the people's stuff. So therefore, your stuff that got stolen is your artifacts, your monuments, your culture, your history. So these are things that we going over now. So in Chicago, we have been learning about the Jacksons, which are from Indiana, which is right outside of Chicago, right? Gary, Indiana, right outside of Chicago. It's not that far from Chicago. So the Jacksons was born in Gary, Indiana. We went back into Jackson history to find out about how the Jackson name originated in the first place. So it originated in the first place by Virginia John. If you've been watching my lives on YouTube, you should be caught up with who Virginia John is. If not, you gotta go watch them lives up here on YouTube. So Virginia John, which is George, Virginia John was given this land, and Virginia John had a son. Virginia John was Choctaw Indian. Virginia John had a son by a slave girl named Gina. So when Virginia John had this baby by the slave girl named Gina, they named the baby Jack Son to indicate that that was Virginia's Jack's son. Now Virginia Jack had left his son land. Jack also taught his son how to cast spells. He taught his son how to use herbal magic. He taught his son how to cast spells on animals so he could talk to the animals. So these were magical people. They lived in what was called the Paramount. The Paramount is the Paramount Kingdom, as in the Disney Kingdom. This is real, as in Queen Califia, as in, you know, the Harry Potter school that's really in Wisconsin. You know, all of this is real. Because a lot of y'all been drawn to this stuff your whole life not knowing why, but this is why. I mean, because you do realize when they killed the witches of Salem, that do mean Jerusalem, right? So you do realize that you was a witch, which is a shaman, which is a healer, which is a sage. And they unalived you for healing. Why? Because Goldilocks was in your house stealing your shit. So now Goldilocks own your shit. See? When you get sick, you don't go to the woods no more, right? Willie Lynch letter. They said, get your ass off the land. You don't go in the woods no more to heal yourself. If you see somebody go in the woods right now, you would think they crazy. If somebody went in the woods and got some mushrooms and got some herbs and told you to take them, you wouldn't take them. Why? Because you would be like, what is that? I don't know what that is. I'm not into that. Why? Because they took your ass off the land. It say in the Bible, every herb you and seed was placed here for you. So why you scared of the herbs in the woods? See, that's crazy, ain't it? They took us off the land. We gotta have stuff coming out of plastic. We need a bottle. We gotta open something. We need, you know, we can't go out there and just get a book and learn for ourselves what it is. But you have to be careful out there because it's a lot of stuff out there that's toxic. It's a lot of stuff out there that could harm you. But that's why they took us off the land, because we knew if we was to cut ourselves, we could get a certain type of flour and put it on yourself and heal yourself. We knew if your mineral was off, it was a certain type of flour. You could go out here and make you a tea with it and balance your minerals back out. We was alchemists. This is the knowledge that we had. We had healing schools. We had herbal schools. We had mineral schools. We actually learned about this information. This information was vital. This is why people was traveling to this town. People was traveling here to learn from us. They called it Timbuktu. And we was the creators of that Timbuktu because we created them libraries. We had libraries with infinite amount of knowledge in it. Why? Because we was the wizards. We was the professors. We was the ones who wrote down our experiences, our experiments. We was the ones who was like Merlin out here. I mean, I got maps that show you where Cambridge is really at. It's here in America. I got maps that show you. I promise the part 2 of this live, I'm going to bring them maps with me. They wouldn't let me download it today, so I got to clear something out my phone. But part 2, I'm going to bring them maps. Hopefully, they'll let me show you the whole map. But I do have these videos where I uploaded them from my TikTok page where we actually did these lives on this information. And this information is vital, and I don't think a lot of people know about it. Greetings, greetings. So, so now we know where the last name Jackson derives from. Also, we did a live about Florida where we got Jacksonville, Florida, Jacksonville, Mississippi. We got Jonesboro, Carolina. Jackson and Jones are, these names are very similar. These names are actually connected. They're derived off of each other. So when you see these last names, this is where you have, in Florida, you got St. John's Bay, you have Jacksonville, Florida. All these are lands that was left to John's son, which is a name indicating that this is literally Jack's son. So these names are not just names. These names breaking down your inheritance, but you got to think nobody really know their history that deep to go figure out how deep your blood runs back to this land. You know, most of us, like I said, we look at things with our flesh. So it's like, well, this my mama, this my daddy, this her mama, this her daddy. I can't see past that. I can't see that past that they had a family that was bigger than what I could think. They have a family that's larger than what I could imagine. They were the people that was populating the land. So therefore, the people of the land was connected. Why? Because they was connected to the land, because they came from the land. You know? So you got with the Jacksons connection, you have when Elder Jackson passed away. That's Michael Jackson's great grandfather or grandfather. It's either his grandfather or great grandfather. And when he passed away, he it said on his obituary, which I got that image too, it says that everybody that was the whole Chicago was at his funeral. Why? Because the whole Chicago was kin. They were connected. The whole Chicago. Isn't that interesting that this is a spiritual connection that these people have? Don't you think that's interesting that Chicago also, where Illinois is, it was called Morocco once upon, I have the map. With it being called Morocco, Morocco, when you break down the word Morocco, it means the sun. When you break down Japan, which is right outside of Morocco on the map I got, it also breaks down the sun. So all these names that the etymology means the sun, we talking about the sun people here, the Zulus. The Zulu are also the animal people. That's why the Zulu wore leopard. They wore these different animal skin archetypes like the Egyptians, because that animal that they were connected to was also like a part of their DNA. You know, like they had this, like it was spiritual animals, and they had these spiritual animal strengths. So you had like, you know, the Zulus were jaguars. You know, you had the Lion of Judah. Judah were lion. You had, cause you can't even think about the Flintstones. They was walking around with animal fur. Fred Flintstone had on animal fur. Barney had on animal fur. Everybody had on animal fur. You know what I'm saying? So these animal furs was also representing your animal spirit. So I don't know if you ever seen the movie called The Golden Compass. It's a part one and a part two. You gotta go see the Golden Compass. The Golden Compass shows you where everybody is born with an animal spirit. And the animal spirit is actually a part of your soul. And your soul is able to shapeshift into these animal spirits. And with these animal spirits, that's called your animal totem. So your animal totem actually speaks volumes about who you are. Your animal totem could come in the form of a chipmunk. It could be an elephant. It could be a tiger. It could be a bear. It could be a turtle. You know, but you have to find out what your animal totem superpower strengths are. Why? Because you have to know your strengths, your weakness. You got to know, can your animal run fast? Or are you fast? Or are you slow? Do you take your time? Or are you like the tortoise? Or are you like the hare? You know, like, are you like the falcon? Or are you like this bird? Or are you like, you know, you have to learn. That's animal nature, right? Animal spiritual totem. So that is very important on your spiritual journey to learn how to communicate with your animal totems. So animal totems, like I said, can shapeshift. So it's not gonna stay the same. It's gonna change according to your energy, according to your vibration, your frequency. That's why I say you should see the movie so you can understand how they vibrations change. When they scared, they vibrations change. When they're thrown off, when they frustrated, you know, just different times you go. That's why you gotta be aware of yourself. Start documenting. Start really being in tune with yourself. You know, asking yourself, like, you know, and you got to look beyond the flesh, because you know your flesh will steal your vision. You ain't going to be able to see yourself for real if you ask your flesh. No, you got to go in, close your eyes, and ask your real eye. That's why in meditation we close our eyes, because them is thieves. You don't want them in your business. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Come on now. Yes. Come on now. Come on now. Yes, so we got to get our spiritual animal together. Okay? Our spiritual animal totem pose. Um, Also with Chicago, so they said everyone in Chicago was kin. So I was on my live on TikTok and I did a little experiment. And so I had everybody, I probably had like 200 people on the live. And I had everybody that was on the live drop like a number one if they were from Chicago or if they had a family member in Chicago. Do you realize that everyone on the live had a family member from Chicago? Because when you talk to people, everybody got a family member from Chicago. And if you got a family member from Chicago, 9 times out of 10, you got a family member from Mississippi, because Mississippi is connected to the Chicago. We learned that in the Sanders movie. But we knew that before the Sanders movie. The Sanders movie just confirmed a lot of things that we knew. But we knew because we knew that there was an Upper Egypt and a Lower Egypt. So we was already finding out that the Upper Egypt was where Illinois is, where Ohio is, where New York is, because Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York is all connected. So we started connecting Upper Egypt, and then we started connecting Lower Egypt, which is Texas, New Orleans, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Think about those buildings in Georgia. We all done been to Atlanta. We all done went to party in them big ass, massive ass buildings. Atlanta buildings are just humongous for no damn reason. Why? Because that's a part of Egypt. I got a map that show you that Sparta. A map that show you New York is Athens. I mean, it is Athens, New York. I mean, I didn't name it Athens, New York. I'm just pointing it out. You know, so it's a lot of history here on the land till we are blind to, because, you know, they programmed us to think this is that. And there is a lot of knowledge concerning ourselves here on the land. So we learning about the Tartarian buildings is helping us a lot. Learning about the biblical history, being able to connect it to the true history is a lot, because we've been able to connect that Abraham Lincoln is from Illinois, Springfield, Illinois to be exact. I mean Springfield, like on The Simpsons. I mean, you don't think that's crazy? I mean, it got to be something deeper to that. Like, he from Springfield, Illinois. And then I did a live where I was breaking down Springfield, Illinois. See, I got to come over here and do some of them lives over here, because the people over here probably like, what is she talking about? But in Springfield, Illinois, we was pointing out where the university is. We was pointing out the portals. We was pointing out how they have a lot of different stuff up there that you never seen. And then people were coming on the live, and they were actually saying, like, I went to school there. I've been on a field trip there. And somebody even said that that is a haunted place. Yeah, they said that that's a haunted place. They say if you go up there to Springfield, Illinois, you could see Abraham Lincoln walking around with their hat on. Now, the crazy thing on my live is we broke down that Abraham Lincoln is Papa Legba. We know Papa Legba when we see it. We know Abraham Lincoln had to be a magician because he had on a magician hat. We know what time it is. You could tell that to somebody else. And we know Abraham Lincoln Name was Abraham Lincoln the first Africanist. So we know that he was a copper-colored man. If y'all ain't been watching my lives, I'm telling you, you need to know this. There's not many people who ain't watched my lives and don't know this. Abraham Lincoln is copper color. That's a game changer, ain't it? He copper colored. And he was a giant. Abraham Lincoln was a giant, bro. Yeah, he was a giant. Yeah, the giants was living up in the north. I did lives on this, where the giants was living up in Ohio. You got giant Nephilims and you got giant bones in Ohio. They found mass giant bones in Kentucky. Ain't that where Abraham Lincoln was born at, in Kentucky? Yep. So also Illinois, mass giant bones. That's where we talking about now. We talking about where he was living at, Springfield, Illinois. It's also a Springfield, Ohio. You feel me? And then you got the India, which is Indiana. If you look up Indiana etymology, it say it's the home of the Indians. I said, wow, because Michael Jackson grandfather was Choctaw Indian. So if you go in that history and find out how the Choctaw Indians came about, and you know the Choctaw Indians associated with Chicago, the reason I care so much because my great-great-grandma is one of 19 and she was from Chicago. So when I found out, and my great-grandma that's from Chicago was 6'5", you tell me what's going on. I just connected to giants. I just connected the history. I just told you they was Indians. Not to mention my grandma told me, my great-grandma told me word of mouth, I was Blackfoot Indian. I don't care who come on my live and call me or whatever they calling people. I don't care about none of that. My great grandma told me when I was a little girl I was a Blackfoot Indian. My daddy told me I was a Shawnee Indian. When I did my history and found out that the Shawnee Indians actually lived in Ohio, Illinois, Pennsylvania, I know the history is history. The Cherokees lived in in the Carolinas. The real Cherokees, they got their name switched, they identity switched. These was red people, like the red dirt that's over there. Like, come on now. That Georgia red dirt. Because we are the Georgians as well. Come on now. And the Georgians were wealthy people. Because when my great-grandma moved up here to Ohio from Georgia, honey, she was wealthy. Because she was a Georgian. Georgians are the people that come from the earth. If you break down Georgia, you will see that it has Geo and Gaia in it. So they got their riches from the earth itself. Mother Earth and Father Earth, Gaia and Geo. That's Geb. That's the earth, Geb. So these people were planters. So these people could plant seeds in the earth and literally get whatever they want out the earth, literally. Why? Because they was planters. They were magical. They knew how to plant seeds. They knew how to grow wealth. They knew how to grow material. These people formulated linen in the laboratory and grew it. They would grow anything they want. If they wanted material, they would plant a seed, grow it, wait for it to grow, harvest it. They would create a machine like a weaver or something, put the cotton on the weaver and create garments. These people were literally inventors. They wanted a bill and they were literally draw up a map, go in the earth, get the materials out the earth, the minerals to build it with. Limestone, emerald, stucco. Materials they still can't figure out how these Tartarian builds still stand in the day. These folk was alchemists. These folk was scientists. These folk knew how to sew clothes, make clothes. These was artists. These folks knew how to heal. These folk knew they created the herbs. They knew what all of them did. I'm talking about you go look up your history. Like they was real life alchemists, man. Go look up George Washington Carver, how he was talking to plants and he was in a laboratory actually learning from the plants how to create other plants. Like sis said, the Simpsons predicted everything. Why? Because these was the paramount people. These was magical people. Going back to Chief Powhatan, the paramount king. Going back to the magical land, the magical mountain, Mount Vernon. That was magical. That was a magical mound. Dahomey of Wichita. They stole our history. Stole our magic. We don't even know who we are. We think Abraham Lincoln is a Caucasian man. Why? Because they whitewashed our history. They whitewash your history. You're not going to know your real history. Why? Because it been whitewashed. You ain't going to go looking over there for your shit. I've been doing readings. I've been doing past life regression readings. A lot of people have not been able to even receive them. Why? Because of the whitewashing. I tell somebody they German, they looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, oh my goodness, when you find out you German, come back and get your reading because I can't do nothing with you right now. German man, you the germ man. You the man that got germs inside of you. And if them germs are not healed, them germs will cultivate. Them germs will grow. Them germs will become something else. And those germs, see, we are chemists. We have always been chemists. We have always had alchemist mindsets. We have always been able to do the math and the science. We've always understood that. We got to get back to who we used to be, though. Learning our real true history. But like I said, I will be doing this part 2, and I'm going to bring the pictures with me so I could show y'all. I'm going to show y'all Illinois. I'm going to show y'all Abraham Lincoln. I'm going to show y'all some of the documents I got on Abraham Lincoln. I'll show y'all a lot of the maps I have that we have been lied to so you can start seeing. And to let you know, I am opening up a classroom on Patreon. It is on my website. But I will be putting a lot of the pictures and stuff up on the Patreon where you could go on there and print it out yourself and you could keep up with. No matter what platform you watch, everything will be on the Patreon account because I'm getting ready to get that ready for people because I've been meeting a lot of people that's interested in getting their spiritual stuff together and they like, where do I start? So I'm going to start directing them to Patreon because on Patreon's where I'm going to just start from scratch and just somebody that's coming in from scratch can just build up and know what's going on because I got different platforms. We doing different things on different platforms. And the knowledge is knowledging, but I do want to get everybody on one accord so the knowledge can be universal. So I definitely give gratitude to everybody that watched. I give gratitude to everybody that will watch. If you can share the live, share the live. I'm Jazzy Gems, and I will talk to y'all beautiful souls real soon. You stay lit because you're a star, and stars are supposed to shine. You stay lit because you're a diamond, in the rough, and you haven't been discovered yet, but that don't mean you don't shine. You feel me? So, I will talk to you beautiful people real soon. All right, peace.